Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today I want to talk about this separation that we seem to want to put between imagination and reality. So I had a few calls last week where we got into this specific topic, or just the topic in general about how reality isn't about the black and white of what's appearing. It's about your interpretation, how you're experiencing what's appearing. That's what makes it reality, right? So in other words, reality isn't the actual reflection of the circumstances occurring. It's how you are being aware of those circumstances. It really is who you are being. It's what concept of yourself, what concept of all that is, are you choosing to perceive from? And then that's reflective in, what identification, like how are you being aware of it? What meanings are you assigning to it? All of those things. But I want to really stress and have you understand that what we call our reality, our 3D experience, it is only awareness. And we can only be having or experiencing the reality, the circumstances, the experience because we're being aware of it. Period, right? In other words, I want to explain it like this. The circumstances, all the circumstances, let's just put it this way. Everything, every possibility ever is always available for perception. Constantly, always, forever, eternally, now. Everything. Always available for perception. So, in a way, it's all always happening. And in a way, none of it's ever happening, right? Because there's the idea that, yes, it's always in existence, it's always available, it's always there. However, unless you're experiencing it, unless you're choosing it through conscious awareness or through awareness, period, and experiencing it, is it happening? Right? So there's that. That's the first part that I want you to understand. It's all always available for you to experience. And furthermore, what we're calling our 3D reality, we are experiencing it because we are aware of it. Period. You cannot experience something. In fact, it's in the awareness of the experience that's making it an experience. Okay? Then we have imagination. Again, it's really the same thing, right? You're being aware of something and you're experiencing it. However, you're experiencing it as pretend, you're experiencing it as only imagination, you're experiencing it as something that you hope will show up as a real experience. So, I want to point out and have you understand and see that you, as awareness, are creating this discrepancy between imagination and reality. You and only you are creating the separation between the two. That's it. There is actually no separation. The all of it is just awareness. Period. All of existence is awareness. And you're conditioning awareness in a way where you're saying, when I'm aware of this, it's only in imagination. When I'm aware of this, it's not real. I'm hoping it'll appear. And then you, as the operant power, as the source, as God, are conditioning this, and you're saying, I'm aware of this as happening to me. I'm aware of this as a real experience. I'm aware of this as something that will show up or won't show up, right? But I want you to really understand that this is all coming from you. If reality is just awareness, then when you're aware of something, whether you want to call it imagination or whatever, when you are aware of it, that's your experience. This is why Neville talks about the pearl of great price. This is why he said in one of his books, think, persist in the assumption of fulfillment so much, I'm paraphrasing, persist in the assumption of fulfillment so much so that it floods out all other possibilities, right? And then we have the pearl of great price, which is the same concept. But it's a much more extensive discussion around it, talking about going all in imagination, deciding that only imagination is real, deciding that what you're aware of is all that really matters, understanding and knowing that it's not about I'm going to be aware of it and then I'm going to be aware of it not being here yet, right? As soon as you become aware of I need it out here, when is it going to show up? Why isn't my reality changing? Whatever you're saying, you are creating that illusion. You are pushing it away. You're creating that space between imagined awareness and real awareness. It's just awareness. They're both the same thing. You're being aware, but you're conditioning one differently than you're conditioning the other, right? You're creating the separation between them. But if it's true that the only thing that matters is how you're experiencing reality, which would mean what you're being aware of, what you're choosing in awareness to be aware of, then that's actually all that matters. This is why we really want to stress circumstances do not matter. In your perception or your conception, in you conceiving of unideal circumstances appearing out there in your 3D reality, you're creating that illusion and that experience. You're now in the now moment becoming aware of non-fulfillment. Whether or not those circumstances manifest is irrelevant because reality isn't about what's manifesting. It's not about what's out there. You keep creating that idea that it's about what's out there. And in that, you keep creating the space from awareness, imagination, and the reflection. And you're creating the lack of it showing up because you're creating the notion that it has to appear out there. Do you see how it's all coming from pure awareness? And how even in a manifested circumstantial 3D reality, the only thing that makes it real for you, the only thing that makes it real or reality is how you're being, what are you being aware of it or not? That's it. It's not that it's happening, it's that you're being aware of it. So it comes from what you're being aware of. So naturally, when you go all in fulfillment, by definition, going all in fulfillment would mean you are completely aware of fulfillment. And if you're completely aware of fulfillment, can you have any other experience? Can you be in a reality where there's non-fulfillment? Absolutely not, because reality is awareness. Your reality is what you're aware of. It's not what circumstances are happening unless you're being aware of them. But that's coming from you, right? So that's why it's so important. Go all in awareness. Be aware of fulfillment so much so that it floods out all other possibilities. When you're aware of fulfillment, you can't be aware of non-fulfillment. This is what, being double-minded is. You can't. You can, in a now moment, be aware of fulfillment, and then in a now moment, be aware of non-fulfillment. You can do that, but that's the point I'm driving home, is that if you go all in fulfillment, there's no risk. There's nothing to lose because reality is just awareness. And if you're being aware of fulfillment, then you, by law, will be experiencing fulfillment. Unless and until you become aware of non-fulfillment, fulfillment will be your experienced real reality, because your experienced real reality is only based on what you're being aware of. So that's the point I wanted to drive home. I hope this opens up a perspective for you guys that you hadn't fully accepted before, and that you're really allowing yourself to just accept it now and to embrace the truth of awareness. Embrace the power of awareness. Embrace the realness of awareness. Stop creating this illusion in this story that what you're aware of in imagination isn't real, and you're hoping that you can be aware of it out here in the 3D reality so that it can be real. Because that's all coming from you. And that's just wasting time. It's wasting awareness. We don't have to play that game. When you're aware of fulfillment, you are fulfilled. Period. That's it. That's all you have to do. And it doesn't matter how you do that. You can do it through imagination, you can do it through affirmation, you can do it through scripting, through visualizing, you can do it through blowing bubbles. It does not matter. It doesn't matter what you're saying, what you're seeing, how you're saying it, how often you're saying it. It just matters that in the now moment, you're giving yourself permission to be aware of fulfillment. That's it. There's no rules about it. And as you do that, again, I'm going to say it again because I think it's so important to really get the depth of it. When you are aware of fulfillment, it is real because reality is awareness. Experience, what you're experiencing is because of awareness. So what you're being aware of is your reality. What you're being aware of is true. What you're being aware of is all that matters. Nothing else. Stop creating the idea that but out here, but out here, but out here. You keep kicking your manifestation down the road because you're saying it's separate, it's out there, it's out there. You're doing that. It's not out there. The moment you're aware of it, it's real because again, awareness is reality. All right. There it is. You guys are great and I will see you during the next video. Bye.